There we go. So welcome everyone to our People Operations Committee meeting for August 24th, 2022. I just shut the door because we have some registration going on behind us and there's a lot of talking, so I'm easily distracted when I hear those voices coming in and out. So I just wanted to start by saying, okay, we are in a good spot here at Rome City. We continue to have an ebb and flow, which I'll talk about today. And we've had resignations right up through today. But we're also doing hirings right up through today. So it's fast and furious. In terms of our instructional vacancies right now, we have 3 school psychologist positions. I believe that we're working to secure a part-time school psychologist right at the moment. We have an offer going back and forth, but we are short school psychologists. We are short the ESOL teachers, ESL teachers. We're short 2 ESL teachers. And while we are working on the schedule to make do right now, we know the need's going to increase, so we have to fill those positions. It's just a matter of extremely limited supply of those teachers. And the last position that we are unable to fill is a tech position. I still don't have this tech position filled. Mr. Nash, I believe your follow-up question may be if we're having some teachers do a 6th class to cover. I have to right now.
Oh, no, I know.
But there is the possibility we can get this filled, and that possibility exists because we can hire teachers who have retired, who are looking to get back into education this year, just because there's a waiver. The contract has specific language for that, so we wouldn't be paying someone a salary of $95,000. It's step 4 on the new salary schedule, masters, and then any additional salary credits on top of that. So you're looking at generally what we'd be paying a newer teacher with 3-4 years of experience in a master's degree. But we were able to secure a special education teacher who wants to come back for the year, which is beneficial because the high school had a vacancy and we were able to secure someone. So again, I do think that I think the tech position can be filled. I'm concerned about the ESOL and the school psychs. Time will tell. So we're just going to have to support our staff to get through this portion and hopefully find them as they come up.
Do you know who the 3 sites are needed?
One is the district, and I don't have the other 2 locations. Is it Kansas?
Yeah, Courtney Lehman left Gans. And then there's a split one, Stokes, Joy. And I think maybe part of Stroud. Because
The leave, yeah, maternity leave. So
So we don't get, so the maternity would be like, so that's a temporary one? Or they wanted a full-time site there as well, in addition to?
we actually have 3 full-time sites that we haven't filled yet, plus maternity leaves that are coming up because we lost Courtney Lehman and Chris Wheel. And then we have the one that Kristen created for the district office,
so it's those 3.
plus maternity. But the maternity we have right now covered.
And we have where Chris Wheel was at Stroud, we have that position covered. And it's an experienced school psychologist going into that position.
When someone does apply and you put someone there, is there a priority of where they go? Or is it, here's the 3, which one do you want?
It would be dependent upon really the timing of the position and the experience of the candidate. So the individual we placed at Stroud had experience at the secondary, came out of an elementary, but had experience in the secondary. So being at that middle school would be a fit for them because they understand where they're going, where they've been. But when it comes to filling certain positions, be it, let's say, a secondary history position, and we have positions at Stroud and the high school, will ask them, what's your preference? We want the person to be happy where they are. When it comes to a therapist or a school psychologist, Kristen would look at their expertise, talk to them a little bit, and you'd see where the best fit was. So those are our instructional vacancies at the moment. I did want to add on to that conversation that we have the AP vacancy at GANS. I know that you read that Ms. Hess has resigned from her position to go to a district closer. We did have that posted. Posting closes today. We had 14 applicants with one internal of those 14 for that position. So we can begin the screening process with Chris Brewer, the RAA, of course, Jen Pouliot and her team are heavily involved in that. But we have some extremely strong candidates.
Internal means,
Go ahead.
Someone from within the district is
in
applying.
the district,
In the
not
district.
Dansport. Okay.
Correct.
Do you think they'll be able to fill it before school starts?
I don't think we would be able to, just because of the cycle of board meetings and the appointment. And also, if the person comes from outside the district, they're going to have to give notice up to 30 days. As I started out saying with a little gloom and doom, we did have 2 teachers resign in the past 2 days. We're holding them to 30 days unless we can fill the position. We have to, because we have students coming in. Generally, we try to be flexible with that, but this close to the starting point, we can't just let people go.
Yeah.
And I fibbed Shelley, we have another 2 vacancies I didn't put on this. It's the PE. Ultimately, we have 2 PE because we lost one yesterday and we had
Jerry's here.
Jerry resigned last week. So we had a Denti. And then I think Kelly's like Bellamy.
Yes.
Bellamy. So Bellamy and Denti both need PE teachers. We had it posted originally when Jerry resigned, and we have 10 or 11 applicants. So we do have a healthy pool of folks coming in for PE.
For people.
That could potentially be filled prior to the start of the school year.
Is it normal to have this many vacancies or this many resignations?
There's a little bit of a game going on right now between especially younger staff members. We lost one because the district will pay for their master's degree, so they committed to us. Then they went to a district that said that they can pay for a master's degree, and that district can. It has greater latitude than we do. The second one we lost, I'm unsure. My guess would come down to salary. But I think there's other components that I can't necessarily raise. I know the families from that area where they're moving to, but I think there's other components why they're moving. Nothing in terms of what we did. We made a lot of accommodations for the person, wanted to support them to grow as part of the district. But lesson learned.
And Jerry's relocating.
Yeah.
by His wife.
And Jerry's going down.
Jerry's there. Mary Margaret was the superintendent at Oneida. And she got a job
Carmel.
downstate, Carmel.
Okay.
And Jerry's been looking down there to move
Mhm.
closer to his
Sure,
wife,
yeah.
so,
Actually, we took one from downstate. I wonder if they swapped.
right?
Hmm.
Flip flop.
Resignations is close. Yeah, unfortunately, we get a handful. We have about 450 teachers, so we do get resignations at the end when people are jumping around. I'll tell you though, I was up at new teacher today. We had over 38 people because we brought in some of the folks we hired in the spring as well. And this is a lot of folks. We hired a lot of folks. We got out of the gate early in April hiring people. And we used to go through these meetings where we'd continuously have a whole front of a sheet of vacancies. And it's at least good to know, hey, we have a few targeted vacancies right now, so. And we always will. It's the nature of our animal. Any questions with those? I will do the non-instructional vacancies right now. We have an 11-month office specialist at Stroud, and a 12-month office specialist in supported learning vacant. Interviews are being conducted, and it does look like we can get these positions filled. And we also have custodial workers, custodians, and one-to-one aides. And the one-to-one aides are what we're supplementing, where we were using teaching assistants in the past. We've moved our teaching assistants to be working with our supported learning students, where we have that required. We do have vacancies in some of our general education rooms, like the kindergarten teaching assistants that we previously had. And ultimately, we have about 17 of those vacancies we're looking to fill with one-to-one teacher aides.
That many more than one.
Yeah,
Yeah, and that's not even.
not one-to-one students, Dr. Fontana. One-to-one is what we're terming the teacher aides that we're bringing in. They're called one-to-one teacher aides coming into work. So we have.
I think they really are one-on-ones in supported learning.
That's what we used to call them. I don't think the term has changed.
Yeah, they used to be one-on-one teacher. The vacancies we have are true one-on-ones.
That's on the IEP that you don't have any
Yes.
choice. You have to,
Yes.
you have to do as
Yes.
best you can.
Yeah,
Legally required.
yes, that's not including the general ed
No,
numbers.
no,
That's just,
that's, I'm just, you had 17 openings for a
17
one-on-one.
openings for
For
one-on-ones.
kids that need one-on-one.
17. Gee,
Speaking of supported learning, have the two assistants started yet?
They have, yep. Ms. Van Duren started last week, and Chris Lorenzo started beginning of July. So both are on, it's fully staffed.
Good.
Thank you for everyone for their support in that. They already had a training last Friday with Jen Matthews. So, yes, we are short. What we're trying to do is get the teaching assistants and group the teaching assistants into the programs and the one-to-ones as much as we can. We're hiring 8 today, so that will chop down on this list. There was interviews conducted today, and they're giving offers out to 8 individuals. And we're getting the applications. Shelley's morning task. She comes in, has her iced tea, and she sends out the one-to-one teacher aides to the principals. So Stroud and Clough for the first priority,
they had the 2 largest number of vacancies.
and they need it.
The rest, we have couple, like 3 of the elementaries have like 1. Denti had 2, which she was able to fill hers today.
Okay.
So that brings the number down a little bit too, because she had 2 people that specifically requested to apply for Denti as one-on-one aides.
So that would bring it down feasibly if everyone accepts from today, that would bring that down to 7, Karen, which is more palatable. So
And we
That's
do
why-
have some good subs that are willing to come in for us.
Until you get.
Yeah.
So to address the issue with the general TAs, they're still being pulled as of right now.
they have to be.
You're right, because you gotta
Yeah.
fulfill the legal requirement.
But as Peter spoke with all the principals yesterday, 2 days ago about that. And the positions are there, we just don't have the bodies for them right now.
So that's what we have to, so
We
what can we
have
do
to
to fix that?
Continue to work and recruit. That's
Okay,
all.
what's the pay? Is that something we can talk about in public? What's the pay for a TA?
Teacher aide,
No, teacher assistant, like to address that need that we have.
the teacher
with the kindergarten
assistant
class being overcrowded.
is 18,838, I believe.
And they
And
have to do what? They also do the fingerprinting? And we had this discussion before as far as like, what can we do to try to recruit and to incentivize it as much as possible? So they would have to do what? They have to take the child abuse.
they have to take the child abuse course, the
And then
school
how much?
violence course. If you take the school violence and the child abuse together, it's $75. The DASA is $100, but they do get that reimbursed per their contract. They have to take the test, which I think is 50.
Yes. I'll tell her 50.
Apply for their certification, which is 35 for teacher assistant.
So we're talking $350 or so. I mean, I'll take the distance list you paid up front, and then.
Yeah, then they get reimbursed
So we're
there.
talking probably $500 or so.
It's around the
Not
ballpark, yeah.
Well, then it's close.
Yeah, that's why we started bringing in the one-on-ones, and then as I believe, Jeff, like the game plan is we bring in the one-on-one aides. And when we get them all filled and we can start getting to the general, we could then shift the teacher assistants that are working as one-on-ones into the kindergarten, the gen ed classrooms, and bring in
Correct.
one-on-one aides to replace the teacher assistants. So it's, the one-on-one aides don't have to meet any of those
Right.
requirements,
No,
so,
I know. I'm just.
yeah.
And it's filling that pool.
Well, is there some,
It's just a waiting game of getting everybody else full and then having a shift again.
And we're, in the region, we're competing against ourselves because districts are doing different pieces, trying to recruit. We are all short our paraprofessionals right now throughout. But the timing can be positive because we are going to go into negotiations with this unit this year. We can't just make an immediate change to the teaching assistants or teacher aides because it would have potentially, the cost would then be extended through the other unit, through that unit, through compression, wage compression. If we were looking at increasing what we're bringing folks in at, we'd have to look at how that would impact down the line. But that is a year that we have negotiations with this unit, so I do think that, again, we have nothing but a positive relationship. We had the president of that group here today. We're supporting the staff members, and I feel like it's still with our professionals. We're a good place to work. We are a stable place to work, and we're getting people. And now that less employers are looking to have remote workers, I think that our ranks will start to fill again. We lost a ton of teaching assistants for remote jobs. They were going home and working, and we can't compete with that.
no,
We are going to a job fair at the end of September, the 26th. Over at I don't remember the name of the church, over by the teacher credit union. Bryce Baldwin is the
Mhm.
pastor. We went there in last June. And they had quite a few people that had passed through. I think we would have had a better turnout ourselves if we were downstairs in the basement, because I honestly saw it on Facebook. Like, they never approached us if we wanted to, so
Yeah, you were there 2 days later.
yeah, it wouldn't matter. Overnight they allowed us to go in, so we were downstairs, so we
didn't get the flow.
registered early this time to get an upstairs spot,
Mhm.
so we'd get more of the flow. And gonna try to go to some of the open houses and try to recruit maybe some parents that are coming in that might want to, work the same schedule as their children.
That's a
Whether-
really good idea.
And some of the building principals have done that, where they tap the PTA to get monitors, to get folks to come in. It's a great way.
Yeah, and I don't honestly mind going to do it. It's actually fun to meet people. It's just getting the schedule, like how many are gonna have them on the same nights and,
Right.
getting the word
Because it's
out
all the
there,
one
but
week and
So do all the kindergarten classes are eligible, or do we have slots for TAs? Do you understand what I'm saying?
When I was first here, we had teaching assistants in every kindergarten.
It's, yeah,
so are
Is it-
there not, is it not that anymore?
No, we
So-
can't do it right now. We just don't have the staff to do it.
yeah, that's what,
And-
but the policy, we still have on the books more or less that
Yes.
there would be, yeah.
Yeah.
That's,
We
that's. I wanna
still
make
have
sure
those
I understood.
spots.
So
So
first you're filling the one-on-one, because it's required by the state. And then secondary is filling the TA in the kindergarten.
yes.
So how long does it take to get the certifications and stuff? Time wise?
Honestly, I had somebody get it done within a week.
Okay.
Really, it's feasible to get it done in a week.
I had somebody at my granddaughter's crying school. She said, how do I become a teacher assistant? I says, well, I told her what to do. I don't think the money's an issue. I don't know. I mean, I lend her the money. I mean, I get it back, but we need, yeah.
The hardest part was pandemic killed us with the DASA course. But that is now starting to pick back up, and actually more places are offering DASA. When it first started, it was just BOCES.
Yeah.
And to get into a BOCES, like
Right, it was
limited, MVCC now offers the DASA course, which helps a ton
in Rome.
Yeah, right.
in Rome, yeah, in Utica and Rome. They offer a lot more opportunities to go for it too than BOCES. BOCES might be once a month. Because it's a 3-hour online, and then it's 3 hours in the classroom, so
How many kindergarten classes don't have the TA?
none of them.
No kindergarten has a TA.
So no kindergarten.
No,
has-
starting out right now to fill all of our required that are required due to CSE.
Those numbers are so high.
We're, before we do our hiring recs at the end of the week, we're 17 short. On
Right.
special education.
Yeah, and then it'll be about 7, so.
Right, and then we can start looking at the kindergartens. So we are not even, we call them our general ed. We're not even there with general ed yet, because we have to fill the supported learning positions first.
Were they filled? Is it just, we have so many of them with the one-on-ones because people are leaving? Is that what you're saying? Or did we start filling them? When do we start filling these so we know who is going
We're
where?
constantly filling teacher assistants and teacher aid, the one-on-one aides. We are never fully staffed. We usually start, what was it last year?
You will always
I
see
think
them
we
on
were
the
like
agenda.
30 last.
But if
last
you
year.
had, let's say 5 people were at Denti last year, I mean, do you know, okay, we're set with Denti or
Yep.
we're set, so you know where the holes are,
Mhm.
when, always, or, in July you start looking, or you,
We know the holes going into summer, and then after we get the teachers settled, in beginning mid-July, then we start going over the teaching assistant numbers. There's a selection day for the teaching assistants, which in past years would cause a huge upheaval.
Mhm.
That is now reduced. We had 4 people. It was done via telephone. Just call them up, they moved. And now it's just the backfill.
so is it just that there's not enough of you guys? So
No,
you have to
there's just
do-
not enough people to hire.
Not enough people to hire.
But
there's
you,
nobody
but,
out
and
there.
then you take care of it like this, teachers, the one-on-one, that it's kind of goes in order, right? And then this is the last to fill. Is
No,
the
these are the
TAs.
second to fill, actually. Teachers first, then these, but because
Right.
of the influx of people registering all summer and CSC all summer, the numbers change. So we focus in more towards the end of July, beginning of August,
To get hard numbers.
to get as close as to what we need as possible to start school. Supported learning gives us their numbers by the building.
Mhm.
So for instance, RFA needed 24. RFA actually had 24, so they broke even.
Okay,
Bellamy had 2 accessed. Ridge Mills had 1 accessed.
if you have some kindergarten classes have co-teachers, right? Because of what's going on, so
Correct.
not every single kindergarten would get a TA. If you had a co-teacher, would you still need a TA?
You wouldn't need a TA. Are we talking about the team teachers? where
Right,
there's a team?
yeah.
No, they wouldn't.
Okay, so we don't, so it's not everybody, some aren't looking for one, so do you know how many?
I don't have kindergarten section numbers now.
Well, we know 2.
Or kindergartners is, does any other class, I'm sorry, since
No,
I'm
I
new,
was talking
and I
about that.
apologize. No, I mean, because I feel I'm asking all
No,
these
not at all.
questions. Do kindergarten classes, are they the only ones that require or are able to get TAs? Or is there any other class that deems, like if you're in 3rd grade and you have 25 students, then it's okay, you're gonna get a TA?
It's only for kindergarten. And
Only
it's not a
kindergarten,
requirement.
Okay,
It's not a requirement. It's something that the
That we
district has
do.
done to support
Okay.
kindergarten.
so it's just kindergarten.
Yes.
Okay.
And a lot of districts fill kindergartners with aides. We actually fill them with assistants. A lot of districts do aides.
Oh, so there's a difference,
There is.
between a teacher aide,
A
teacher's
teaching
aide.
assistant has a certification
That is
And-
this DASA and all
Yes.
this
Correct.
stuff.
Yeah.
And the
Okay.
teacher aide is fingerprinted. Teacher assistants are allowed to work with small groups and provide some direct instruction. Teacher aides cannot.
Okay.
And it's a different than Celia.
Yes.
Like $2,000 difference.
Yep.
Yeah. It's like 16,392 right now for the one-on-one aides.
If you don't end up finding teacher assistant, do you move to the teacher aides
Yes.
and try to do both? Because I guess some, at least it is another
Bodies.
body to help
Yes.
a teacher in kindergarten with so many kids that can help zip jackets and I mean, do some of that
Absolutely.
work.
2 sets of eyes.
We actually have postings on
For both?
OLAS for both.
Okay,
And as we pull them, we look to see if there's 99% of the time that people that apply on OLAS for teacher assistants are not certified.
okay.
They don't understand the
Well, I
difference.
wouldn't understand it, yeah.
So we send them all to the principals.
And how many people in your office do the hiring? How many, what's our HR capacity as far as
Right
the
Looking at
2
it.
of you?
That's
Okay,
awesome. Shelley and I.
And Shelley's an expert at other things as well on here.
I know.
Her plate. Yeah. That is my Shelley and Champlain.
There we go. Took 1 semester and left it.
Well, thank you.
This has always
And
been a
we'll give
challenge.
you, next Monday at the board meeting, I'll be able to provide you a more up-to-date count on the teaching assistants. And the teacher aides just based on what we're hiring. Again, it was at 1 o'clock. They're putting out a number of offers at 1 o'clock to secure people.
Is it under your purview, or that would be Peter's, that what our numbers look like at each grade level, particularly the K level?
Student numbers,
Yeah.
Peter.
Yeah, because I was gonna ask you if we could get an update, because I know we had one.
And now's the time.
Right.
Everyone registers at the end.
At the
Don't-
end, that's.
Yeah, they never,
Yeah.
you talk to the principals and the principals are ready to pull their hair out because the sections will go up and
Yeah.
this isn't a role issue, this is a
No, it's.
Right.
It's
It's
a
not, it's,
public education issue.
Yeah.
So,
we're in a unique situation because we are overcrowded to begin with.
Absolutely.
We're at a
we have a
disadvantage.
finite amount of
Yeah,
space,
we're at a
absolutely.
disadvantage, yeah.
Do any other districts pay for or do any, yeah, the certifications, and then you have to sign on that you work for 6 months here, or the school year, or you owe it back? I
They
mean, there
do-
has to be some incentive in
Yeah,
other
and we've
districts.
gone back and forth about this. One, we don't have, individuals have to pay up front for the fingerprinting. We can't do it for them. because we
Right, the
set the appointment
fingerprinting, but
And we don't have a credit card that we can pay that for. One of the, we can give the money back in installments to the person. The problem is that we would have some people that would get certified if we offer this in jump districts. And
And
that's
I'd say,
because of-
so what? I know I'm on the losing end of this discussion, but
I'm in favor,
So
I'm in
what?
favor of doing that.
I
I would just like
So
to try and
what?
secure people
Yeah.
for an amount of time, because if we had people and they went to a higher paying district, knowing that we'll do that.
I mean.
Well, I mean, what's
Mine-
stopping
most-
us from putting something in writing that they signed that?
It doesn't hold. We had,
Or-
when I worked at BOCES, we had that too. Because people would come to BOCES just to get their administrative certification. They paid for it. And you could try, but they all jump ship. But the difference is, like we have always said, like, for example, BOCES class where I came from a BOCES world. They have a third of the teacher assistants that we do. Because they use teacher assistants as like a program teacher assistant. All kids that require one-on-ones have one-on-one aides. Where when I came here 12 years ago, they were hiring everything as teacher assistants. We're slowly trying to transition out of hiring everybody as a teacher assistant and because BOCES offers double, almost triple what we pay our teacher assistants.
What's the one-on-one requirement for staff?
High school diploma or equivalent.
Wasn't there a discussion for us to raise the salary for teacher assistants?
Yes, but we have to, that has to be a part of negotiations when we get to it.
Oh, okay.
We just can't make a unilateral change on the entry
That
rate of
probably
hire.
wasn't our
Okay.
5 things that we had. when we- Remember. when we did. I unfortunately, I have to run. I will try and be back. I have to go around the corner. I just thought this would be a little shorter than it
Sorry.
was.
No, it's my fault.
No, no, not at all.
I will check to see if you're still going.
Well, we have ed rooms at 4, so Chris will be probably knocking on the door any minute.
I'll be back.
Just real quick too. Okay, teacher assistant and then the teacher aide. Is the teacher aide a high school diploma?
Yes,
Yes,
So teacher aide and the one-on-one is really it's the same. It just depends if they want to do assist a classroom or assist a child.
Correct.
It's their preference.
correct.
Okay.
but we're gonna throw into a mix, you're gonna see on the agenda that we're creating a teacher assistant, a generalist,
Mhm,
which is those people help out, teacher aide generalist, sorry.
mhm,
They help out in the library,
mhm.
their library and main office. That's what their duties are, to assist
Okay.
in the main office or the
Okay.
library. Or like at RFA, they might assist in the attendance office.
Mhm.
So that gets a little confusing in there too.
So
So
we're creating that, it's gonna be on the agenda, or we're hiring somebody for that, or what's going on
We're
there,
hiring someone at Stroud to be a
At Stroud.
teacher aide generalist.
but we're short.
But this
You
is
understand
also,
what-
right, but this
you
is
understand where
also,
I'm going with that?
right, when we're bringing these people, when we're bringing in teacher aides. Going back to when we're looking at like a school psychologist, we want them to be in a place where they're going to stay and stick around.
Right, so you want them to choose where their
Yeah.
skill set is.
And we
so-
want to minimize number of generalists we have. We really don't want individuals going and working in some of those other positions, but we do need a couple generalists.
To help with administration.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Administrative tasks.
Sorry.
No, not at all. Am I good for the next one? Building maintenance mechanic. We've had an individual who went and we had an individual request to go to part-time. So we were looking to create one full-time maintenance mechanic. Just to ensure that.
And I don't have to. And then I couldn't get in. I texted Karen. I was like, open the door.
We wanted to create a full-time, so we didn't have any type of lack of service from our maintenance mechanics. That leave was requested for the course of the year. So we're down, we are down a part of a maintenance mechanic. And then next year we would be up a maintenance mechanic, but
we're anticipating retirement very
Correct.
soon in those areas. We have a couple people that are
on the cusp.
on the cusp of retiring and they could train these people with their expertise and
That's why we're looking to just do a creation of one.
That's a good idea.
That's really smart.
One side point before I get to other, just want to make everyone aware that we have in our system for absences, we are taking off COVID leave out of our choices. Most individuals have used that at this point. We will continue to check cases on an individual basis if they're applicable to have either COVID leave or if they need to use sick leave. But we are taking off our selection menu at this point, so.
How did that affect COVID leave versus a sick leave? What would be the difference? Would it be like it takes a day from them or something like that, whereas the COVID
COVID leave
doesn't?
allowed the employee in the beginning up to 10 days, and then it went down to 5 leave if they were ill without having to use their own sick time. So at this point, that's why you were allowed to use it the first time if you're exposed, second and third time you had to test positive to receive that leave. At this point, that's why we just need to review it on a case by case. Treasurer position is under other. treasurer accepted. You'll see that on the agenda on Monday for the board to take action on. I shared our E&L issues that we've had, that we have 2 positions and our numbers are increasing, just like we spoke about the teaching assistants and teacher aides and the needs growing over the course of summer. The same thing happens with our English language learners. So that need is there. I was just looking at those numbers yesterday and the need is going to continue to grow for us. So it's unavoidable. And lastly, Shelley already brought up the teacher aid generalist creation that we have. That's all right. Oh. And last but not least, we have our vacancies that we're still trying to fill. And while the superintendent over the summer, we try to get everything to the board. When I first began, we would try and get the superintendent has the ability to hire individuals, instructional individuals over the summer, teachers, no administrators, with a letter. We really tried to avoid that and just put everyone right through the board. One of the things we would like to do following Monday's board meeting to the next board meeting is to continue to bring on our non-instructional vacancies and backdate them if we can fill them to the start of the school year. And when I say non-instructional vacancies, I'm talking about our aides, assistants, clerical, monitors, food service, and custodial. Just backdate those. So when we have that meeting in mid-September, you'll see that we'll have some of those folks on there backdated at the start of the school year, just so we can fill the coffers as much as possible.
Didn't we talk about that already anyways? Because we're going for every 3 weeks that
You probably might have to do
they,
that.
Yeah.
you have to
If you
do
know
that
the
anyway.
conditions that you've already created, it's just filling them.
Correct. It's just putting a body there, and it's not for teachers and it's not for
Right,
administrators,
it's just, yeah.
non-instructional.
Okay.
Thank you all for that.
you.
Appreciate your support. It makes our lives
A lot easier.
much easier and the principals too. So that's all we have.
Very good.
Well, really quick though.
Yes, Dr. Fine.
I guess what's not sitting with you right now is we're doing the teacher aid creation thing for a position at Stroud. When could that person fill in for the need with the kids until that's filled? I can't support it.
They're not going to be, that individual is not doing office work. They're doing work with students and some of the management of students, but it's outside of what we had teaching assistant and teacher aides do. Or teaching assistants do.
Okay, that's different than how it was explained as the general position, doing more clerical.
This one is also supervising some of the students.
That's what they generally do. The generalist, when we say a generalist, is usually in the library or the office. This one's gonna be helping out lunchrooms.
We have, it's, I don't know what the name of the room is either.
SSR room.
SSR room, it's doing some of the components there at Stroud. And Stroud is running at a larger deficit than the other buildings. Right now, we have them on a 5-person deficit from those types of positions, SSR and all those others that they traditionally would fill. Because we're working to educate them that some of these positions you don't necessarily need. But they do.
Stroud we're
need
talking about, don't need. Not so sure, I agree with that.
It's the way they use staff.
Yeah, I understand being.
Where it might not necessarily have to be an assistant in there, where we
Yeah.
could actually put an aide in there. Just trying to get them to do that.
Also, and I know we've seen it come around. If a kindergarten class has so many students, when is it determined that someone wouldn't use a teacher assistant and actually get another teacher that could?
Move in?
Yeah.
I've had that conversation with the superintendent, so I think that's a Chris and Peter conversation. Because I've actually had that conversation with both of them and also some of the principals where what is the tipping point with our section loads and how we're filling those sections? And when do we either need to move students to a different building and or put in another adult that has greater certifications and expertise? Because again, the primary instruction is very different. I always say that. I was a high school teacher. I've only worked with students that were sixth grade and up. I never understood the tenets of reading, of that early literacy, all those components that elementary teachers look so easy.
They
It's
do.
so
It's
difficult to
unbelievable
master.
how easy they
Right.
make it look.
And
It's just unbelievable.
that just shows that they're experts in what they
Oh,
do.
yes, yeah, that's why I
So
see here, as
I
much
don't
as I
have the
can,
answer to that
I
one.
can, we need to help.
In
Yeah.
where we do that, because what that does come back to is some of the space issues we have as well.
Would it be easier for you to hire a kindergarten teacher than hiring a teacher assistant?
I wouldn't be candid. I don't think it would be. Because that
certification's
certification,
hard.
the certification is so tough. The state made it difficult.
For
Most of the,
kindergarten, the
they
teachers?
did, because it's birth two, and then it's 1/6 now. So they've really
And I'd
created
say
an issue.
85% of the kids graduating are
Are 1/6.
1/6. Granted, sometimes it's only maybe a class or two for them to be able to get the birth through two certification, which I know they started through the teacher center,
Getting those classes.
getting those classes and being able to offer them to our staff so people can extend their certifications. But yeah, the numbers coming out of college with the birth two is, and some people only have just the birth two, and that's extremely limited too. Because if numbers shift and you have to move those teachers up, they don't have the certification
Yeah.
to teach the,
We only have
2
one
through
on staff.
6.
It's a birth two.
yeah. Cause that's such a limited cert. The
Just
1/6,
one.
at least you have
One
more.
is, we have one staff member, we had two. Now we have one.
With the birth two, just cause that's extremely limited.
So
No,
per
they-
per
I think
contract,
they
if you
working
have
on
31
changing that,
kids in
but
one class,
yeah.
you have to have another class. Is that how it was explained?
Those are suggested. There's no requirement, there's nothing in commissioners, regulations, or the contract that says you can't have 40 kids in a classroom. It's what fits and what makes the most sense for the teacher. Again, where we have some of the larger classes and we have 2 teachers, does that always work? I don't know.
I mean, I just, I'm not to put it on you when you guys do the hiring, but it's something. When you think about, you talk about people moving to different districts and you have these great teachers. And well, I'm gonna be a kindergarten teacher and you have 30 in my classroom and I have no TA. I don't have a co-teacher. Well, probably seems better over in Clinton where I can have 16 kids and I can, so. I mean, I know it's the difficulty of hiring, but it's also looking at what,
What are the best conditions to teach?
I mean, why would someone, I mean, we are in an area where people can go to many other
Many different
districts
districts.
right down the street that are 5 minutes away. So, and I appreciate your efforts. I understand. I think going to the schools is a great idea, talking to parents, talking about being a kindergarten TA. I mean, those are great ideas. It's just, if I'm a kindergarten teacher and I'm teaching 30 kids and I see an opening down the street for 10.
I'm going as quickly as I can.
For with 16,
Yeah.
I mean, it's just,
Yeah,
um,
this kind of thing.
I do
That's
think,
tough.
one of the things that has our teachers here though is their commitment to being in Rome. And a lot of the teachers that we have in those primary have done that for many years. So it's their longevity and it's their commitment to being here, and their families are generally here, that they want to be here. I understand what you're saying, but I go through the vacancies every day. And I'm pleased that I can look around and we have such a narrow scope. And I know from a different lens, you can say, wow, you have a ton of vacancies. But looking at the scheme of this and looking at what other districts are doing right now, I mean, we have Syracuse City with 150 vacancies, giving folks $3,500 and 2 checks, trying to get them on board.
right, I get.
No, we're in good shape.
No,
I'm
it's-
not saying that.
But I understand what you're saying. It's how can we do that and have the best system?
Well, it's tough. We talk about, you talk about your education committee and. For early intervention and all these things in kindergarten, you have one teacher with 30 kids, I can't even imagine, so. I know you're doing the best you can, it's not,
Yeah,
I'm
we're
not
not-
saying
no,
that
no,
you guys can't make people
Not
commit.
at all.
It's just a tough, you know, that's tough.
Well, thank you all. We'll see you Monday.
Yep, thank you.
Okay.
I will.
You will see quite, there's gonna be more, definitely more additions on the